According to preliminary data provided to CNN by the Anti-Defamation League, threats against Jews in the United States have increased in the year after Hamas' fatal October 7 terrorist attack on Israel. Between October 7, 2023 and September 2024, there were almost 10,000 anti-Semitic occurrences, up from 3,325 the previous year. That is the highest number of occurrences the group has documented in a 12-month period since it started monitoring threats in 1979. ADL CEO Jonathan Greenblatt said in a statement that Jewish Americans haven't had a single moment of respite since the horrific incident in October of last year. Instead, we've heard calls for more violence against Israelis and Jews worldwide, as well as an alarming number of anti-Semitic threats. In response to the growing Middle East conflict, Monday's October 7 anniversary, and the Jewish high holidays, police agencies nationwide have increased patrols around Jewish and Muslim institutions as a precaution. These new preliminary figures were released ahead of the organization's upcoming full report. Reports of bias incidents and hate crimes against Jews, Muslims, and Arabs have increased nationwide since the start of the conflict between Israel and Hamas. The Council on American Islamic Relations reported in April that it had received 8,061 incidents of anti-Muslim bigotry in 2023, the most in the 28 years that the agency has been keeping track of hate crimes. The FBI and the U.S. Department of Homeland Security jointly released a public statement on Friday, warning that the anniversary of October 7 and ongoing unrest in the Middle East may operate as catalysts for extremist acts of violence. More than 8,000 instances of verbal or written harassment against Jews, more than 1,840 acts of vandalism, and more than 150 physical assaults were included in ADL's threat statistics. According to the group, there were at least 1,200 anti-Semitic occurrences on U.S. college campuses in the prior year, which is 500% more than the same category's data from the year before. Earlier this year, hundreds of demonstrators occupied campuses across the United States to show sympathy for Palestinians under bombardment by Israel's military response to the October 7 terror assault, turning American schools and universities into a flashpoint. Since Israel began its campaign against Hamas, the Gaza Health Ministry reports that over 41,000 Palestinians have died in Gaza. Meanwhile, Israel claims that since the conflict began, it has killed over 17,000 militants in Gaza. Due in part to the restricted access granted to foreign journalists in the conflict area, CNN is unable to independently verify either set of numbers. Although the majority of U.S. college protests were peaceful, there were a number of violent incidents, such as clashes with law enforcement officers trying to disperse makeshift camps, multiple accounts of anti-Semitic intimidation of Jewish faculty and students, and a few attacks by counter-demonstrators. More than 3,000 of all incidents, according to ADL's preliminary data, occurred during anti-Israel rallies, which frequently included overt displays of support for terrorist organizations like Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, the group said in a statement. Threats to Jews in the United States considerably outweigh any other type of religiously motivated crimes, according to the FBI, which enforces federal hate crime statutes and compiles statistics on violent crimes. Almost every terrorist group across the spectrum targets the Jewish community in a unique way. FBI Director Christopher Wray testified before Congress shortly after the October 7 incident. It should be startling to everyone to learn that a group that comprises about 2.4% of the American population is responsible for around 60% of all hate crimes based on religion, according to Wray.